Hey, I'm Luke with Out of Darts. Today we are checking out the Cheetah 2.0. Let's get going. Cheetah 2.0. Not sure why it's called 2.0, but it is pretty darn cool. Last year we got the Cheetah blaster, which was a modular blaster that can shoot a couple different ammo types, though it's really set up for rival. Pretty simple, it's a single shot, kind of like a night fire, more or less. You front load this one, single shot. Pretty fun. We've got these on sale in the shop right now. And while I am talking about the shop, it's worth mentioning that I am reviewing this product. I did purchase it, however, I do sell it, so take my review as you will. That said, I think this is a pretty cool offering from Worker, if not a little quirky. The Cheetah 2.0 is a mag-fed Springer single-shot blaster. So each time you want to fire, you're going to prime, you're going to load the dart using this front barrel that slides in and out, and fire again. The blaster includes an integrated injection molded SCAR type barrel, which fits right on the end, and it is fairly accurate. This blaster shoots nearly 200 FPS right out of the box. I, in my casual test here, got over 190 average. We will put the actual numbers up on the screen. That's out of the box, ready to go. You assemble a couple things and put a screw in and you are ready to fire. Due to the design of the blaster, the air seal is very, very good, being almost perfect. You can't get any better than that, so that clearly explains why the performance is so high. Blaster is very easy to operate. It feels very good in the hand. It's got a lot of power, and it is a real heavy hitter. I think if you were playing in an ultra stock game or an event where you're shooting at other, Caliburns, Lynx, Talon Claw, Nexus Pro, Max Striker, this is a killer sidearm. I mean, the size this is, I think this could be holstered fairly well. I'd like to do a magnetic holster for this blaster. There's lots of little, what do you call those things? Greebles. Greebles. There's lots of little greebles on the side. It's like the junk on the side of spaceships. They put, let's say like the Expanse, all the tooling and junk. So I think I might build a plate to do a holster plate for this guy because it is a little bit of a funky one as far as shape. I'm not entirely sure why this is called the Cheetah 2.0. While they do look very similar, it's clearly a completely new mold, and I'm not entirely sure why they wouldn't have just called it a new name because they're not really the same blaster. It is worth mentioning that this idea of converting the Cheetah to be a dart blaster with a magazine fed was actually done by our community first. And if I can find or look up, or if Perry can find it, we'll put it up on the screen and we'll link it down in the description who did that first. But clearly Worker was probably paying attention, saw what the community had done, and decided that they would try making one as well. Rather than having the rival ball storage that was down here originally, they've switched it out for a magwell. And honestly, I think it's a better blaster. Now, the games I've been playing at recently are 150 FPS, so this literally can't be used there. So one thing I am going to do is open it back up, either cut the spring as a quick fix or see if I can find a spring around the shop that will drop this down to 150 FPS or so. If I do find something like that, I will throw it up on the website as well if it's something we already carry, or add notes to the description, because I don't think everybody wants to shoot 200 FPS, but man, is it kind of fun to just have this much power right out of the box. On the base of the blaster, you've still got dart storage. However, if you are using short darts, I have already found this to be a little obnoxious because if you stick it in too far, you don't get it back. So that one's going to be decorative, or I'll need a pliers to pull it out. It was clearly intended for full-length darts with the original inserts that came with the 1.0. So it's a little bit of a hodgepodge as far as design and aesthetic. And oh, I might actually get it out. Oh, look at that. So I wouldn't call that functional storage, but to be honest, I'm not sure who's storing darts in a handle when you have a magazine. I'd probably reload the magazine on my body instead, but I think it's something kind of left over from this blaster, which was also sort of an interesting one. I like seeing Worker come out with designs like this because at least they're trying to do something different. They're offering us something that's not on the market. This is very nearly a SPAMF, but it's not quite a SPAMF because it still requires this manual loading. I also wanted to mention that there are some great 3D printed designs in the community. I believe you can purchase those on an Etsy shop. There's a design called a one pull, which essentially tethers this priming to the actual barrel so that the barrel moves along with this, allowing you to do a standard prime and fire rather than prime and having to load this. That said, for the purpose of this blaster, like a mini sidearm kind of sniper blaster, it's very accurate, seems to work very well, and I'm overall very impressed. Another great comparison blaster is the Aeon Pro. The Aeon Pro can shoot either short darts or long darts, and you can see kind of as a size comparison, there's a pretty good difference in kind of the overall bulk. Now, this blaster is a one-stroke prime fire. This does require the extra operation of priming and then loading. Again, there are 3D printed kits, but that kind of changes the price point. However, this one hits around 140 out of the box. This is nearly 200 and definitely more accurate out of the two with the injection molded scar. Overall, I would much rather have this blaster, but it really would depend on your game type. I think it's a pretty good value at the end of the day. In the end, I'm gonna give this blaster 4 out of 5 stars. It's definitely not perfect, but it is a really compact powerhouse at a really affordable price, especially when you compare it to something like, say, the Mark II back there on the wall. It's not on the wall. It's not on the wall. You know, something like the Mark II where that comes in at $80, this is a pretty good value in that comparison. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know what you think about the Cheetah 2.0. What do you think Worker's gonna do next? I have to admit that even though we are the largest US reseller and US shipper of Worker products, I still don't have any idea what they're doing next. I'll get these emails with product updates and I'm frequently puzzled, but this one was a pleasant surprise. Until next time, I'm out of darts.